Welcome to the Gould-Fish Pod. We are back for an electrifying week as it is Double or Nothing weekend. We're going to have a separate show that we'll get to once we've both had time to see the whole pay-per-view. We'll do the Double or Nothing review and talk about the 19,000 matches that they've now put on this card.
They added like 3 tonight.
Dude, unbelievable. Way too crowded. Not at all necessary. And we'll get into it, but have you played any disc golf this week?
I did. I played with Cal. We went to
Legend.
The Legend himself. We went to a different course in Springfield that I only have played once, and it was a tough one. I think it was the sticks were unfair, so it was a tough battle with the course.
Did you respect the sticks at least?
I respect the sticks. Technically there was no sticks there, so I had to go on U-disc and respect the sticks.
Jeez. Talk about a case of the sticks not respecting you.
It was like 4:30 or whatever, par 3, and I'm like, okay, yeah, right.
So yeah, you had a rough go of it. It sounds like with the whole discrepancy in the pars there.
Yes, yeah. So, but we played it legit. I shot a +5. I'm man enough to say it.
All right. Not all of them can be winners,
No, they all can't be personal bests.
No, not possible. But I haven't gotten to play. The Knock Knolls is totally underwater in a lot of spots.
Oh,
at this point, it's getting to a point where I'm just going to have to not play any dry rounds all summer because I feel like it's never going to be enough gap in between rains to actually dry the place out.
Well, I was going to say, you have to go to Catherine Leahy.
Yeah, that's usually pretty unaffected by water. It's just so nice having the one down my street. Totally factors into the day a lot easier. But still no runs at the Ace for me.
Nope, not for me at least this week.
But we can jump right into Rampage, which we just finished watching as we record this. What'd you think?
Very good Rampage. Better than last week. I thought this one was a back to where it was, coming in hot. So I definitely like this one a lot.
Yeah, it was much better than last week. I had a very easy time watching the show. It was very enjoyable. So you can go ahead and start us off here, and we'll work through it.
Well, AEW knows best in how to start shows, and they started out with Matt Sydal versus Bryan Danielson.
Yep, this was awesome. I hope Bryan Danielson.
A clinic. It was a clinic.
And it shows how good they are because they don't have to do like anything crazy. Maybe like 2 crazy things that aren't even that crazy by comparison. And they do it so well that people are just amazed at how easily they make some of that other stuff look. I don't want any of them to get old and have to retire. I want to be able to watch these 2 guys wrestle forever. Yeah,
no, they were really good together. And that's what a lot of the matches should be. So it's like, it was basically a blueprint of like how matches should go. Yeah, no, yeah, enough said on that one for sure. I mean,
what else is there to add? Danielson won after catching him with a running knee, but Sydal was right there with him for most of the match, and Regal spoke pretty highly of him, even though he knew Bryan Danielson was going to win.
Yeah, and it was nice that Regal didn't just like bury Matt Sydal because it's easy for someone in that position to kind of do so.
Yep.
So, overall, I thought it was a very good match.
I loved it. Not as much as I loved what happened next, but I did love it.
Right. So, between that, we actually had the video package for Hookhausen, Tony Nese, and Smart Mark for their buy-in match. So,
we gave the buy-in match video package airtime on a live show. Awesome.
Anything with Hook, you got to give them live airtime.
I guess.
But then we're, as you alluded to, your favorite part, we had the Young Bucks in action.
Is so awesome.
Them coming out as the Hardys was awesome.
Oh my God. As soon as the music hit, I was sitting there going, do we really need the Hardys to wrestle a squash match 2 days before they have a banger pay-per-view match with the Bucks? And then as soon as the Bucks come running out, I just lost my mind. And it was like one of those things where they come out as the Hardys and it's hysterical. And then it's like, okay, this is great. And then they're like, wait a second, there's more. and then it's Gangrel
comes out with them too.
And then they start making their way down to the ring, and it's like, but wait, there's more. And
Brandon Cutler
comes down dressed as Lita. It was the gift that kept on giving. They were so hysterical doing the Hardy dance and the delete, and Gangrel spit the blood, and Cutler. It was, I don't know. This was my favorite thing I've seen all week.
The entrance was so perfect.
That entrance was outstanding. That was so great.
But yeah, I mean, I can't remember who they wrestled. To be honest, I was just in awe with what they actually did.
Taylor Rust and John Cruz. I think Taylor Rust was on NXT at a certain point, but
I've seen John Cruz on like dark matches before. So
they did some Hardy moves. Then they made fun of Matt being old when he went to the top rope. Then they just abandoned the Hardy shtick altogether so they could super kick these geeks a couple times, and then went back to using all the Hardy's moves to win. And then
the Swanton Bomb got it.
Yep. And then after that, they beat the shit out of Gangrel. Went to give him the BT trigger when the Hardy brothers ran down and made the save, and then beat up Brandon Cutler. Gangrel, what an explosive DDT Gangrel gave.
That was very good. That was so good.
That was hilarious.
He got some airtime on that one.
He sure did. But overall, that was awesome. I was laughing the entire time. That was hysterical. Great way to build that match.
That's a great way to do a squash match too.
Oh yeah.
After that, we had Dante Martin versus Max Caster of the Acclaimed.
I liked Max Caster's rap. I like that the gun club can't figure out the right way to do it. I love that the crowd will only cheer for Anthony Bowens doing it. I mean, that was all fun. And then his timing of when I say ass, you say, oh, no. And then they got I thought
Dante Martin comes flying in.
Yeah, that was all timed really well. Billy Gunn ends up carrying him all the way back like he's a fucking plush toy and slams him into
just demolishes him into the apron.
Yep.
Into the ring steps too.
But then they had a match. It was fine. Max Caster lost. That's really all I have for this. It was a good match, but it was just kind of random. And I hate seeing the Acclaimed and the Ass Boys lose.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it was a throw-in match. I felt like,
yeah, which weird timing on the last show before pay-per-view to have some kind of throw-in match. And did you know that Dante Martin leads the men's singles division with 17 wins in 2022?
I did not.
Yep. Apparently.
Is Anthony Bowens and all of them are undefeated except Max Caster now in 2020 or 2022? Sorry.
I guess. And then every combination of every team that they can make without him is also undefeated.
There you go. They beat the system.
Yeah, they really have. Respect.
Respect to Billy Gunn for his pull. Then after that, we had Samoa Joe and Adam Cole video package and promo.
This was fine. It was good.
Yep, like we talked about before, their video packages are sweet.
Yep. Generic package, building a finals. Both guys are really good.
Unfortunately, you were watching live for a little bit. I was watching live. And of course, we got the classic Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, Dan Lambert, Sammy Guevara, Ty Conti, and freaking Kazarian segment.
Yep, I was watching live. I couldn't fast forward through this. So my unbiased opinion is that Scorpio Sky actually did a good job with the promo. And I actually thought it was funny that Kazarian, when they were breaking into American Top Team's facility, said, I've been hanging out with you guys for one day and I'm already committing a B&E. Which I thought was pretty funny. He said it like back in the background, and the mic barely picked it up, but it was hilarious. But yeah, these are the baby faces, I guess, committing a breaking and entering charge on American Top Team and probably doing damage enough and stealing enough belts that the value makes it a felony. So,
well, I was just say one of my favorite parts, or two of my favorite parts was I like it when the champion does something different with the belt because I liked when Miro changed the belt to him. Mm-hmm. So I think that was pretty cool that it was the Lakers color. Like I thought that was like pretty cool. Like the champion got to do that. So
the belt is cool. I just wish they hadn't turned him eventually getting a new belt into an 8-week storyline.
Right. True. And then the second part is, I don't know if you caught it, but after they smashed the glass, like Frankie was like trying to smash like the last like little glass like ledge, and then he just like picked it up and like put it down on the ground, like he didn't even like want to break it. I was like, of course. But I thought that I also picked up on commentary. Ricky Starks, someone said like, like this is over with, and he goes, "Oh, about time," or something like that. And I was like,
I was so happy about that. Yeah, Scorpio Sky was like, "This has gone on long enough," and I laughed. And then he finished the promo by saying, "And after Double or Nothing this Sunday, we are done." And I was like, "Great," except for the fact that Sammy's going to win and get another title match.
Yeah. So, but I thought that was funny that Ricky Starks was like, "Oh, finally!" Like, yeah,
yeah, Ricky, you're speaking my language up there. I also want it to finally be over.
And then we had the main
they officially announced the 6-man tag, meaning that this pay-per-view show officially has 13 matches on it.
It's a lot.
It's way too many. And like Darby Allin, Kyle O'Reilly getting added. It's not that the matches are bad. I'm sure that the 6-man intergender, whatever, I'm sure even that's going to be good. I'm sure that all of the stuff that they've added is going to be good, except I'm not sure that the TBS title will be good, but they added it. I just don't know why there needs to be 13 matches, because somebody's going to get shortchanged. So you're setting yourself up to have to deal with criticism that you could have easily avoided by just putting these matches on a really good Dynamite or something like that. I mean, God, there's no reason.
I mean, the fallout. So that's always like the best time to do is the fallout.
Yeah. And like, I'm sure Darby Allin and Kyle O'Reilly will be great, but do we need it taking time away from the Death Triangle House of Black match that we've been led down this trail for months? Do we need it to take time away from either of the tournament finals? Do we need it to take away from the Hardys versus the
Nope.
No, like these are all things that if you just give them their own space to stand in, they would be far better served. And that's just not what they do. So whatever.
Yep. They set themselves up for failure a little bit. So
yep.
Then we had the main event where you had Ruby Soho versus Chris Statlander.
Chris Statlander made the mistake of saying that she could not afford to lose this because she's blown all the other opportunities, because then she went ahead and blew another opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I just want to preface this a little bit, and I saw on Twitter, I don't know, it's like, I think the Twitter handle is like AEW, like out of context or whatever. And it was, they said like some like promo or whatever, like this is the most out of pocket promo, and it was the Chris Statlander, Layla Hirsch one.
Oh yeah,
and I was just like, yeah, I hope she loses tonight now. So, so I was like, yeah, you're right. So Twitter served me well in wanting to cheer for Ruby Soho.
Yeah, I mean, I felt Statlander should have won, but I knew that she wasn't going to, because she was thrown in the tournament kind of as an injury replacement or whatever. And then they were going to give her a win because they knew it didn't matter. And it kind of throws you a little wrench in some of the expectations when Statlander wins, because then it's like, oh, wow, I didn't think she was going to win. She wasn't even in the tournament. And then she wins. So that was cool. But Statlander's promo was actually really good. So was Ruby Soho's. I was like undecided on who I thought should have won, but this match was really good. And Ruby Soho,
the crowd was so into it.
Yeah, they worked it really good. And when they came back from that commercial break, the crowd was really on fire for it. And they were really smooth. Everything worked very well. It was another really great women's match, one that was worthy of its main event. I thought that was better than Adam Cole versus Jeff Hardy.
I thought so too.
Yep. So they had the second best semifinal probably, because I don't know that you can beat what is it, Joe? I don't think you can
Samoa Joe and Kyle
O'Reilly. That was too good.
That was very good. That was a pay-per-view quality match.
Oh yeah, that was. But yep.
And that concluded our Rampage. A very good show. Definitely an easy watch. I mean, it flew by. Those shows that are really good and when they just fly by in an hour, and you don't feel like you've wasted time.
Well, they definitely flew by for the people that run the shows too, because I don't know if Britt Baker was supposed to say anything at the end, but she came out with a microphone.
She did, yes.
Confront Ruby, and Ruby got her promo in, but before Britt could say anything, they flashed the copyright on the screen, and then the show was over. So I don't know if she was supposed to say anything, but if she was supposed to say something and they ran out of time, par for the course for the last 2 weeks here.
Yeah, they've been a little off with timing issues.
Dude, and I don't know how much time they rented for the pay-per-view on Sunday, but I swear to God, if something important gets cut short, I'm going to seriously consider purchasing a pay-per-view with 13 matches on it again. Because there's no point in paying for all of it to get the really great matches if they then have short-change time. So I really hope that the timing works out on this show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm optimistic, but yes, there is the, thought in the back of the mind.
Yeah, I mean, that hasn't hit them hard on any of the pay-per-views before, I don't think, but I'm pretty sure the most matches they put on a pay-per-view prior to this was 10, and I felt that it was super long. So now we've got 13. Hopefully they rented a little bit more time.
Hopefully.
What'd you think about AEW Dynamite?
That was very good. Definitely, I just think the shows this week were better than the weeks before, which always helps in like the mind because of the recency bias. But
yeah,
I thought it was good. It was definitely a good watch. Like it felt like an easy watch for me as well. I don't know if you felt the same way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought that the first hour was I think that right now Dynamite's issue is that they cannot string together 2 straight hours.
Yes, I agree with that.
Hour or so was really good. I think that there was a big lull in the middle where there was a bunch of stuff that I don't care one way or the other. It wasn't even that it was bad or anything like that, but it wasn't particularly compelling. I did find myself sitting here thinking like, I wish I had commercials to fast forward through.
Right.
In that middle second half of the show, but it did end strong. So I don't know. They just always run into that one chunk of time during a Dynamite show where it takes them forever to get back.
It's the 30 minutes after the first hour and then before the main event.
Yeah, that's
usually the block. Yeah, that seems to not succeed as well as it probably should have.
Well, they did start out hot. Wardlow defeated Shawn Spears in the steel cage with MJF as the special guest referee, and this was awesome. This is like textbook WWE segment going in where you read the stipulation and you're like, well, damn, somebody's going to get totally fucked. And if that guy doesn't get fucked, he's probably going to win, but it'll be in the most illogical sense possible. And either way, nobody will be better off for what just happened. But in this match, I think everybody was put in the exact spot they were supposed to be going into this pay-per-view. This was awesome. Really different kind of match, but a great electric way to open the show.
Yeah, I was going to say the crowd was just very into it, which definitely helps. But yeah, I knew something screwy because obviously something screwy has to happen.
Yeah.
And I was just waiting. What would it be? And, I did not expect that was the way to go. So I think for me, it kept me on my toes enough to where I didn't expect like this is just going to happen. Like I knew Wardlow was going to win, but like how he's going to win is the difference. And I felt like they hit it on the head with this one.
Yeah, it was. I was in the same breath as you in terms of I felt as if Wardlow was obviously going to win, but I didn't know how they were going to get out of this without it being kind of stupid. And I think it was funny that at the beginning, MJF couldn't find the key, just like Wardlow couldn't find the ring. And then they just beat down on him together for a while. And then I think it's funny. I was sitting there thinking like, oh shit, they're going to have to take off these cuffs during this match at one point. And they haven't even been doing a good job of taking these cuffs off when there is no pressure. So in the middle of a match, God, how long is it going to... Needless to say, that didn't matter because Wardlow literally just snapped the handcuffs. And as soon as he snapped the handcuffs, it was all ball game. Favor Wardlow. He destroyed these guys. Max got hit with hopefully a chair that was rigged a little.
Yeah, I think so because it had the Shawn Spears logo on it.
Yeah, so hopefully that was not like a chair that I could go get in my garage. But MJF gets laid out with the chair shot. Wardlow destroys him. Wardlow's a big-time star, man. Beat up all the security guards, posed at the top of the cage.
He threw the one into the
yep.
into the cage.
Into the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, to the shadow realm. Oh man! And then he climbed on top of the cage.
Yeah, and he celebrated at the top. This guy is a big star. I am looking forward to this match. Probably, it's like a tie between this and the world title match as far as what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, and the MJF storylines have just been on
They're
a whole
always the
different
best.
level. Yes.
Next, Jericho Appreciation Society walked backstage and threw a fireball in the face of some guy wearing a Jon Moxley shirt and said that he did it because he's a wizard again.
And then it's the setup. I thought was the list. It seemed
I didn't hear this. He's like, "Oh yeah, you want to wear a Jon Moxley shirt, huh?
Yeah,
you want to wear a Moxley shirt backstage?" And then he throws a fireball in his face. It was kind of funny that he just randomly walked backstage and fireballed someone. But like Tony, get your workplace in order, my guy.
Also, you have Wardlow demolishing security. You have Jericho throwing fireballs in people's faces.
And Darby Allin straight up threatened to interfere in multiple matches.
Oh yeah, and Rampage.
If he didn't get a match that he wanted. Like, and your result of this is not to fine him, it's to just cave and give him what he wants.
Give him.
Classic.
Oh my gosh. Great boss, player's coach.
He really is a player's coach, that's for sure. Next was Hangman Page and CM Punk coming face to face. This was, I think, really, really good. And I think that there's some people's heads that it might be going over. This is another one of those things where unless you pay really, really close attention, it's very hard to fully understand what exactly is going on. But like Punk's career is him winning a title on a really, really big stage, then becoming a complete asshole. And all the people around him saying that he was always that asshole. He just needed to get in a position to be able to be champion. And so Hangman Page, he knows this. And he knows that back when AEW was first started, that CM Punk was one of the first people to receive a message, and he dismissed it immediately as nothing that would be worth his time. Now CM Punk comes back, says that it's everything he wanted it to be, talks about how excited he is for the fans, and everyone gives this Punk credit for, making their ratings a lot more stable and doing giant business at shows. And he's obviously made a huge business difference for them. And Hangman Page isn't taking any of this shit.
No, he's not.
He was there from day one. When Punk had the opportunity to be there from day one and help be part of the reason, he said no. And Punk was, his retort was that the path that they built AEW on was paved by him, and that it was built with trees that he chopped down, because without guys like Punk, there would not be an opportunity for people like Page and etc. to have the opportunity to build an AEW. But I think it is pretty crazy that Hangman Page, like he's not even trying to rationale with the fans. Like he's not going to plead with fans. He doesn't care, because he knows, just like many other people in the back know, what this Punk guy is all about, and he's not going to take it. So I liked how this whole segment went. CM Punk eventually, he just kept repeating that it was all business and he didn't know why Page was so upset, and eventually goaded Hangman into punching him, which appeared to be what CM Punk was hoping for. We'll see how this goes. I think it's going to have a gigantic big match feel, and I think Punk's going to win and end up being a heel after.
Yeah, no, definitely. I wouldn't say it, was needed to keep the storyline going, but this just added just another, point of interest to it. And I definitely think the biggest line that I took from it was when Hangman said he was defending AEW from CM Punk. I thought that was incredible.
Yeah, and that's kind of where a lot of that backstory comes from. So I am a lot more intrigued with how it's going to actually unfold now. But again, MJF and CM Punk, they do this whole storytelling around matches thing better than anybody. And it's not a coincidence that their two matches are the ones I'm most excited for.
Absolutely.
After that, a video package hyped, and I use the word hype loosely, Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay for the TBS Championship. It is what it is. It's a shoehorned match that they threw in, and they did one segment to build it up. And it's, I don't know. They've already put it in a position where I'm going to be sitting there wonder why this couldn't have been on Rampage or the Fallout show, and why, it needed to be given a pay-per-view title spot because all we're doing is satisfying people who get mad on Twitter when people aren't represented. Like, dude, it's a business. I don't know what to tell them. So, but that's why it's there, and it's gonna get shortchanged on time. So it can only be so good. Are you hyped though? Now that you've seen this video package, are you willing?
The video packages are always good, but yeah, it definitely is. We had a couple like we just talked about. Adding matches to it when I felt like they could have done this 2 weeks ago and made it a bigger deal. And I think that's what the problem was is with this match. And like you said, it's going to be shortchanged on time, but we literally just did it this past week. I
know.
Just give it 2 more weeks of it, and then it'll make it feel like Anna Jay has a chance of winning, because I don't think she has a chance of winning.
No, she's got no chance of winning, and there's nothing they can do to make us feel like she actually has a chance of winning. It's just there to satisfy certain parts of the fan base, so Tony doesn't have to listen to people get mad on Twitter. The only problem with that is he kept adding matches, and so now whatever issues he was looking to avoid when he booked some of the matches that he threw on that card, he's still going to run into them because people are not going to be happy with the amount of time something got. They're not going to be happy with how seriously something was taken. He's just setting himself up to walk into all of the same shit anyways. So I just don't understand.
Yep.
If he had stopped booking matches, it would be fine, but he didn't. He kept booking matches, and he booked better matches. So it's his own fault.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Caprice Coleman join commentary. One of my all-time favorite commentators for all the wrong reasons. He didn't do anything weird this match, but sometimes when he commentates the big-time ROH matches, he'll say like really, really obvious things. And then he'll go from saying like the most obvious things to like inventing phrases that no one's ever heard before. He just gets so excited. I don't even think he keeps track of what he says. But whenever he does, it's hilarious because he says it with such conviction.
Yeah.
And he'll get all worked up.
Yeah.
He'll get all worked up over something like really obvious and simple. So, for weird reasons, I don't mind seeing him every once in a while. But the next match we had Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, FTR, defending against Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta, Roppongi Vice. This was the ROH World Tag Team titles. And it went to a no contest when New Japan's Jeff Cobb and the Great O'Khan both ran in and beat the shit out of everybody.
You have to quote JR, that other guy.
Horrible on JR, by the way. Complete disrespect to the Great O'Khan.
That was, you should know who's running in.
Clearly, he's not a fan of or not familiar with Great O'Khan's work, which is a shame because the Great O'Khan is fantastic.
Well, didn't he call New Japan matches? Like, how does he not know?
Well, the Great O'Khan didn't come back into New Japan until long after JR was gone. The Great O'Khan is like a pandemic era guy, basically.
Gotcha.
He was just kind of getting his foothold right before all of that happened, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But like, he is a quirky guy, and his matches are very different. I mean, they could be very slow, but like the Great O'Khan himself, is just so entertaining that if he's just in a tag team, like you love the Great O'Khan stuff. Like he thinks he's this vicious guy, and I don't know that he ever does anything that looks like overly vicious, but it works for him. And he had a hell of a weekend in Vegas so far, and it's just getting started.
I've seen the tweets. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's having a great time.
Yeah. He's more than happy to be here. That's for sure. But
it helps when you have Jeff Cobb as a beast of a man to ragdoll people.
Yeah. All the Great O'Khan has to do is hit a claw slam every once in a while. And then Jeff Cobb just cleans house. And look, all I need to see him do is hit a claw slam every once in a while.
That's what the people want.
But Dax and Cash, they had a really good match here while it lasted against Rocky Romero and Trent. I mean, everything they did looked really great, and then randomly they just ran in. It was over, and that was like kind of it.
Yeah, that was it.
They attacked him. They beat down FTR. They put Trent through a
table.
Oh wait, was it Trent or Dax that they put through the table? I forget.
It was Trent. Oh, both. It was both because Jeff Cobb put Dax through a table and the Great O'Con put Trent through the table with the claw.
It. And somebody else took a tour of the islands. It was
that was Rocky Romero that took the tour of the island. That's such a good name.
I love it
for the move.
It's one of my favorite finishing maneuver names ever of all time.
That's a very good one.
Because how often does the name of the finishing maneuver and the actual maneuver itself actually relate so closely to one another? Like, I
know it's pretty cool.
Like think about it. Like the one-winged angel, like cool name and all, but other than the part where he like hooks the one guy's foot out, like I don't understand. Like I did not realize that the one-winged angel meant a flip over pile driver. But the Stone Cold Stunner, he's booted, he gets the move, and then he's noticeably stunned. Like it makes sense. The Tour of the Islands, the dude is swirling him around and around, and he's from Hawaii. It's never made more sense than that.
Right. Yeah, he's an island guy. He's an island boy.
Yeah. I think you might offend him if he hears that you compare it to the island boys.
Well, maybe he'll take me on the tour then.
Yeah, I mean, that would actually be pretty cool. You should continue to instigate him until he agrees to give you a tour of the island.
Should I start showing up at Warrior Wrestling and ask for a tour?
Whenever Jeff is there. Jeff, you would not just pick up a fan and give him the tour of the islands, you bitch.
You're not man enough to throw me around.
I bet you couldn't throw my ass. You'd be too afraid. I won't sue you, Jeff. Come on. Prove me wrong.
If you don't throw me, you have to come on the podcast.
You've got two options. Give me a tour of the islands on the floor out here, or you're coming on the podcast.
That's the ultimatum.
Oh, man. The Hardy Bros were backstage. Matt talked about the Young Bucks. They all had similar upbringings, at least until the point where the Hardys aggressively deviated from their upbringing.
Very aggressive.
Yes. And once they got into the business, that the Bucks, they don't have the fortitude to succeed like the Hardys did. But, I think they both also displayed fortitude. It was just in very different forms. If you read the Bucks book, you learn about some of the adversity that they went through with the changing of the gimmicks and having the unfortunate duty to have been managed by both Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo.
Yeah, right.
In short periods of time. And there's nobody really believed them. Like there's that kind of fortitude. So, they lasted. But then if you watch the Hardy Brothers WWE 24 documentary or I don't remember which kind, they've got so many different ones, but if you watch that on the Hardys, their fortitude was a little different. Like they battled addiction and a plethora of other physical issues in terms of the injuries that they had. But either way, I think both have displayed fortitude in their own way. I don't think that's fair to say, Matt Hardy. I'm pretty sure you both have fortitude. That's my point.
Was that one of his other gimmicks getting into his head?
No, I don't think Matt Hardy has any gimmicks where he focuses on fortitude.
Okay. I didn't know
what a gimmick that would be.
Didn't know if that was a part of one or not.
No, not that I'm aware of, but I could be wrong. But he told everybody that the Bucks were Hardy cosplayers, which would then lead to them doing what they did tonight on Rampage, which was obviously great. And Matt vowed to delete them at Double or Nothing and become AEW Tag Team Champions.
Yep.
Next was the three-way. Swerve defeated Jungle Boy and Ricky Starks. I was so hoping that Jungle Boy would have pinned one of these guys in this match.
How disrespectful to pin Ricky Starks out of all people.
I mean, yeah, as soon as he got put in that, I was like, Jesus, it's over. Like,
look, I am wearing my Team Taz attire with the champions on the back. Oh, that was so disrespectful.
And they just went and did you in like that.
I was fuming.
Which I actually would have been okay with Ricky Starks losing if Jungle Boy had been the one to pin him or submit him. Because if Jungle Boy had won the match, then I would have gone into Double or Nothing fairly confident that the Luchasaurus Express is going down. But since Jungle Boy wasn't involved in the pinfall at all, I still don't know what's going to happen, which means they're probably going to win, and I'm going to end up disappointed.
Well, if we want to talk about fortitude, Ricky Starks went through a hell of a lot just to get pinned. So,
he did.
I do have that.
Dude, Ricky Starks is... I still think that Swerve and Keith Lee could win here. And that Ricky Starks will be the guy that everybody sits there and goes after the match like, shit, dude, this Ricky Starks was working his goddamn ass off with all those guys in that match.
Yeah, well, we'll get to our predictions, but I'll throw you a bone there. So
yeah, I don't know. I still don't. This could go any way still. And
I already have my prediction, so.
Okay, well, we'll get into it. Powerhouse Hobbs attacked Swerve and Jungle Boy. Luchasaurus ran down and make the save.
Man,
Keith Lee came out.
Yeah.
Basically, everything that's happened the last couple of times happened again.
The big guys had to stare down at each other.
Dan Lambert and Men of the Year were backstage. I don't know what they said because this was when I got up to go to the bathroom. And by the time I came back, they were gone.
I fast forward since I watched it.
I imagine it was them saying something about what they were going to do on Friday or whatever. Something about that or the pay-per-view. But
yeah, some of those segments, like we talked about, have gone too long, so I don't care to watch it.
Okay, well, speaking of not caring about things, the Thunder Rosa promo. God bless Thunder Rosa. I've been a Thunder Rosa fan for a while, but this is just so not. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just there.
It's middle of the road.
It wouldn't matter as much if she hadn't just won the title. And this was their second defense. And it's the second defense in the row that's had a weird, convoluted story. I don't know. It was what it was. She said that Deeb wasn't a champion, which is clear by the fact that she has no titles. And then she complains and points fingers. And
yeah, she does it in AEW.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she has any at all right now, but
no, but not champion. But yeah, she was the NWA champion. Didn't she beat Thunder Rosa?
Thank you, Thunder Rosa, for explaining the rankings to us. Deeb doesn't have a title. Got it. So that's why she's a contender.
She's the number one contender because she doesn't have a title.
Understood. So Thunder Rosa says on Sunday we're not going to see that face, but the war paint's coming out, and she's going to teach Serena Deeb some respect. Which, you know what? I kind of love Serena Deeb. I mean, I don't understand where she was going with her promo last week, and we talked about all of the reasons why. But if you just exclude that, I don't know. I kind of want Serena Deeb to win, and I know she's not going to.
Like you said, this has been a weird build, so. It
has been. Speaking of weird, Red Velvet was backstage. She complained about losing in the tournament.
Yeah, just keep going into the weird.
Yeah, I mean, this was all part of the show where I was like, oh my God, like none of it was bad, but I was just sitting there going like, can we move this thing along? I mean, God. And this was part of it. Velvet had a notebook of information on how to beat Chris Statlander, like a thick ass notebook. Like she had all that information, had no chance of beating Statlander. I mean, for God's sake.
Did she open up the notebook? Like, that's what I'm curious about.
No, she tossed it away in the same segment. She said, clearly that's a new Statlander, so I don't need this, even though it's the same Statlander that wrestled against Red Velvet last week. But
I know that's.
Hey, good on Ruby Soho, though, because she didn't listen to the notebook. Why would you take notes from Red Velvet? Especially after just losing to the very person that she's offering advice up against. So good on Ruby Soho for making the smart decision. It clearly paid off for her.
Yeah, business decision.
And then next we went to the semifinal match, Dr. Britt Baker versus Toni Storm. There were parts of this match that were really good, and then parts of this match where it totally just fell apart, and I think it was because they were going too fast. Whenever these matches fall apart with the people who are actually talented, it's almost always because they start trying to do too many things too quickly, and it just loses all of the flow. Because when the flow came back, the crowd was back into it, and things got a little smoother. But whenever, like, these two women are good wrestlers, and It was
When
just
they're on for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not like they ever fuck up moves or don't do anything that they're not supposed to be doing. It's more so that they just speed everything up and it doesn't look as good. Like the Alabama slam looked funky.
It's not as crisp for sure. It's a little sloppy.
The reverse into the air raid crash was awkward, and unfortunately, the pinfall was pretty awkward as well. Storm was rolled up, and then the ref was not at the appropriate angle to see that. Britt Baker, who after trying so hard, finally actually gets the pinfall in the way that she's supposed to, and then grabs the ropes for like a half second. And apparently that was enough to seal the win. Like, didn't really get the ropes all the way. It was just an awkward end, and I think everybody thought that Toni Storm was finally going to get one over here, and we might actually get to see the Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter divorce finally. And instead, it was kind of clunky towards the end, and when it's clunky and you get an unexpected finish, it doesn't usually go off as well as when everything is smooth and it's a big surprise. Or even if it is clunky, you still give people what they were expecting and kind of what they wanted, and they're willing to forgive the clunkiness. But I think a lot of people wanted to see Toni Storm win, and that's not what we got. So it was clunkiness plus not really getting any forward progression here. And the
bracket busted.
And bracket busted. So mainly that's where my points are coming from. And I'm just mad that they made my bracket look really stupid.
Both of the men's and women's have made my bracket look pretty stupid.
Dude, we were absolutely so out to lunch on picking those brackets. We should have.
Except I think our predictions are still better than what has happened.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why we predicted them, because we think highly of AEW. We thought they were going to do all of the right things. So Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho on the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
And then the main event, Owen Hart semifinal on the men's side. Samoa Joe defeated Kyle O'Reilly. This was fucking amazing.
Pay-per-view quality.
This was a pay-per-view quality match. These guys absolutely destroyed each other. And unfortunately, it looks like Kyle O'Reilly was on the worst end of it more often than not. He destroyed. Joe destroyed that guy.
Bulldozed him.
It was a really cool spot where they went to go do a muscle buster and it was reversed or something. And I just think it's so creative how Kyle O'Reilly gets into all of these submissions. Like, I would also love to see him versus Zack Sabre Jr.
That'd be a really good one too.
And him versus Bryan Danielson. Like, there's so many things that I'd like to see.
He does a good, counter wrestling.
And in the end, it wasn't enough to beat Samoa Joe. They were going back and forth in the middle of the ring, and Kyle O'Reilly was clearly losing steam. Joe hit the enziguri. O'Reilly countered and rolled Joe up, but Joe kicked out, and this was a little clunky because I don't think Joe got all the way over, but I know what it was supposed to look like, and I can just imagine how much cooler it would have looked if it had flowed a little better. But yeah, he went to go sit back on Joe for a roll-up, and Joe flipped him through into the choke. O'Reilly tried to counter going for the injured arm, but eventually wrapped it in and put Kyle O'Reilly out for the win.
Yep.
Adam Cole came down after the match to stare down Joe. What did you think of this?
I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
I think I saw that like on Twitter or something that it was like a 4-star match. I definitely thought it was probably be a little bit higher. To me personally, like I just felt like it had all what I wanted to see. Super hard hitting.
Yeah,
like that's where like,
other.
And I think doesn't have to be the mark of a good match, but I think when there's that extra level of intensity and everything was very sharp and crisp, and like we talked about how some on the women's side that it wasn't rushed. Like, let's put it at that.
Yeah.
Where I felt like this was the good match where you kind of had a little bit of time, but everything was just precise, and that's all we kind of asked for is precision.
The only time that going that fast ever works is if you can go that fast for the entire match without slowing down and never fuck up. Like, if you are Ricochet and Will Ospreay, you can have that kind of match.
Well, I was gonna say if your name's the Lucha Bros too. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, they
do it relatively often.
Yeah, but if that's not the strength of your wrestling style, then it usually just makes the match lose a little bit. And like there were parts in this match where they would lay around and do nothing because they were exhausted. And then they'd finally get up and they would slap each other in the face a couple of times and they'd go back down. But in the time that everybody got hyped to see them get back to their feet and clobber each other again, they were happy just with the few slaps they got. And then the guy goes down and it's like, okay, it's over. Like, so it's just the space.
It's the well-timed breaks. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, this was awesome. A great way to finish Dynamite. And I'm excited to see Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe. I've never seen an Adam Cole Samoa Joe match, at least not one that I can remember.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one as well.
They might have wrestled at NXT, but I don't remember, and I didn't see it if they did.
I don't watch NXT.
Then you wouldn't have seen it.
Except Ricochet and Adam Cole matches, and Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, so you do. There's a couple of things that.
And I saw the Tommaso Ciampa one.
Yes, that's true. You saw a Ciampa one. But those are the AEW shows for the week. Any final thoughts on either of them?
Happy to see him improve from last week.
Yeah, they were better.
Obviously still a little bit. I think this is the most noticeable timing issues we have seen.
Yeah, that's why I'm worried about the pay-per-view.
So yes, but overall definitely better than last week, which helps going into the pay-per-view. But yes, I think they're fixing the timing issue, and hopefully they can just continue to be better.
Yeah, as long as Bucks Hardy's, Max, and Wardlow in the world title match get the time they deserve, then I can forgive almost anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But we can go into the second week. We're going to do week 2 of the Gould-Fish Pod top 5 rankings. There's a little bit of movement in my rankings today. We're going to see some new faces. You're going to see some shifting in terms of positioning. Fish,
I have a lot.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow, an explosive week for you, huh?
Explosive week, yes.
Okay. All right, well, you can go first. Let's start.
I will kick off. So, last week I had Ricky Starks and Hook, so I just combined them for number 5, just Team Taz.
All right, so you're throwing the whole Team Taz.
Yes, because Powerhouse Hobbs, everybody that's going to be wrestling on the pay-per-view it's just their top 5.
Got it. Okay. All right. I can appreciate that. On my number 5 list this week, it's still me. I didn't necessarily do anything too flashy from the week before. I hammered the Dark podcast. I did a couple more of those. You'll never see a single film of it. Never. But it was more so that other people underperformed and fell below me. I didn't do anything to climb, but I didn't screw up either. You
didn't lose the spot.
No, I didn't. I did nothing to lose the spot. Whereas other people, like Fuego del Sol, his time in the sun is over. I can't put him in the top 5 anymore. He didn't get TV time this week.
He did not. No.
And Billy Gunn, they lost. So can't justify having him in there. FTR, not even on the pay-per-view. They had one more week to get into the pay-per-view, but they're not, and so they're off my rankings.
They're off, yeah.
I'm the only one from last week that didn't do anything major to blow his status. So I'm number 5 on my list.
There you go. So to my number 4, which you're going to have a differencing opinion on.
Oh, God.
But, a little recency bias, but I think week to week he has performed, and it's the Billy Gunn scissoring. I think he's improved drastically with Max Caster and Anthony Bowens on the scissoring technique.
I can live with that because you're more so incorporating the group's hand gestures.
Yes.
And you're more so highlighting the camaraderie of the group.
Absolutely.
And that, I think, should still remain highlighted. If they don't win another match, those guys get along, and that's friendship right there.
Well, and it just shows that Billy Gunn is open to having people.
So maybe friendship should be number 4.
Yeah. Not the best friends, just friendship.
No, not. You're right. Let's leave it the way you had it. We don't want anyone mistaking that. That would be very off-brand for the pod.
It would be.
All right, my number 4, moving down from 3 last week to 4 this week, is the TNT title. And here's why. Points for the TNT title. Got a redesign.
Yes.
Cool. Points for the TNT title. Still getting the TV time. The TNT title gets more TV time than some of the women that have been signed in the last year. So good for the TNT title. It knows how to politic its way onto the TV screen. Good for it. But here's the drawbacks with the TNT title. in all of these TV segments, not being defended on a match or on the pay-per-view in a match. So there's some negative points. Also, Dan Lambert still has copies of you, minus points as well. So there's still a lot of great things that the TNT title is doing, and I can see where it's protecting its own, it's protecting its own brand, keeping itself on TV, not being defended on paper. He's playing a game, so I got to keep him in the top 5, but I don't think he was justified at the 3 that I put him at. Him or her, could be a her, who knows? It's TNT title, but coming in at number 4 this week, TNT title.
Yeah, that's a good one. Obviously it did drop down, but I'm happy you were able to come up with the justifications for it.
And there's always got to be somebody in the rankings that no one wants to see in the rankings. And since everybody's pretty much sick of this whole feud, that's my one thing that I'm sneaking on that no one wants to see.
There you go. I have a huge jump for number 3.
Oh, wow.
And it's part of Facilitation Nation.
Okay.
Big time players making big time plays. Jamie Hayter for the win.
Okay. Jamie Hayter for the win. Yeah, definitely. I would have much rather see her just screw Dr. Britt Baker, but ball security is job security. And she made sure that Britt Baker did not drop the bag there. So
absolutely.
I totally respect that. My number 3, Hangman Adam Page for calling CM Punk out on his bullshit.
There you go. That's a good one.
And when CM Punk turns heel on the pay-per-view on Sunday, Hangman will be number 1 because he'll have known the whole time. And that alone makes him deserve a rematch right away.
Absolutely. I mean, that's very, very good justification. I can appreciate that. For my number 2, it's been in the works for the past couple of weeks, but chair shots is my number 2.
Okay. They've been building up the big headshot this week.
The big headshot. He also had Sting, getting his ankle, plus throwing it in Kyle O'Reilly's face.
Yes.
And then you had Darby Allin diving onto a pile of chairs with Jeff Hardy
2 weeks ago.
So, I mean, it's just the resume's there. Strength of schedule matters.
Wow. It was kind of a sneaky ride into the top 10. Steel chair shots. They're back.
They're back.
Oh, that's a different segment. Steel chair shots. They're number 2.
They're number 2. They climbed the rankings.
All right. My number 2, also going a little cutting edge here. My number 2 is getting everyone on the card.
That's a good one. That's very good.
This pay-per-view on Sunday. So, hey, this one too, sneakily building. It's not just the pay-per-view. I would never put somebody in the rankings for a one-shot pay-per-view. This has been building. We've had a couple of weeks now where the timing of certain segments has been not so good. They've been throwing these awkward video packages in places they don't belong. Shows not being able to do full segments because they're running long. Britt Baker, did she get cut off? Who knows? But maybe it was a timing issue. And it all culminates to the ultimate timing issue, having 13 matches on a pay-per-view card. And that is what we've got this Sunday. So my number 2, coming in strong, getting everyone on the card.
They had some quality wins leading up to the pay-per-view.
Yes, big time wins. See, not having the pay-per-view would have kept them down. But they secured that big one. They got the big win, strength of schedule. And so now they're number 2 in the rankings.
So that is a very, very good one. My number 1 remains number 1 with the Mexican Destroyer.
Okay, it's still preemptive. We didn't see a single Mexican.
It had 2 bye weeks, leading up to the pay-per-view. So I'm expecting big destroyers on the pay-per-view. If not, they are falling out of my top 25.
From 1 to not even ranked.
To not even ranked.
Wow. I mean, I have all sorts of questions about your rankings, but we'll let it play out for a few weeks first. Because mine also is a little screwy, considering strength of schedule and relevancy. But all from his one performance from Wednesday through the end of the day yesterday. Just a 2-day span. And the Great O'Khan has shot his way up to number 1 on my list.
Very good.
Great O'Khan, number 1 ranked on my list. He rode a gigantic penis. He got slapped in the ass by a waitress with a paddle. And he appears to have made friends with a few hookers on the main drag.
On the strip. Yeah, on the strip.
So I mean, the only thing this guy doesn't have is the IWGP titles. And maybe I needed to flip it and put Great O'Con at 2 and everyone on the card at 1. But his performance on the streets of Vegas after interrupting a match and somehow making me like the segment still, all of that accumulates to... Oh, also he used the Force on Trent Beretta to put him through that table.
He did.
He used the Force. So,
well, because he knew that Obi-Wan was coming up on the 27th today. So
this guy is getting all of his shit in, and he made a pitch to the marketing team for Disney. Hey, look, I can be useful to you. I'm the Great O'Con. I ride penises and use the Force.
That's very... He had some big wins very fast.
Yes. So you've got to reward a guy like that. He might never appear in the top 5 again, but right now he's there.
There you go.
So that's the top 5 for the week. Send us some comments. Send us an email at gouldfishpod@gmail.com.
Let us know how our top 5 goes.
Or tweet us.
Or tweet us.
Gould-Fish Pod. Before we finish up the show here, we're going to go ahead and just very quickly run through the Double or Nothing card and give all of our picks for this Sunday. We will release this prior to the pay-per-view show so we can see how well we do. Fish, we'll start from the bottom and work our way to the top. I've got Hookhausen beating Tony Nese and Mark Sterling. What about you?
I have the same.
All righty. What about Men of the Year and Paige Van Sant versus Sammy Guevara,
obviously
Ty Conti?
This is obviously going to be a little out there, and if I wanted to be funny, I would say the bathroom wins this one because everyone's going to take the break.
Stadium Facilities wins.
The Stadium Facilities would be the winner. That should have been who's made the top 5.
Yes.
But I'm going to have to go with Men of the Year with Paige Van Zandt since she's making her debut.
I am going to go with the Men of the Year and Paige Van Sant. Nope, I'm changing my pick last second. Sammy Guevara, Frankie Kazarian, and Ty Conti, because Scorpio Sky said they'll never be able to challenge for the TNT title ever again.
That is true.
Him. If he had just said against him, I would believe it. But because he
did say ever, yes. So
I'm going Sammy, Frankie, and Ty.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, I should have picked up on that.
Darby Allin versus Kyle O'Reilly. I've got Darby Allin.
I also have Darby Allin.
Don't see that one going any other way. Anarchy in the Arena. We've got the Blackpool Combat Club with Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz versus Jericho Appreciation Society. I've got the Bullet Club. I got the Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, I have them as well. I don't see the Jericho Appreciation Society picking up the win here.
Here's a tricky one. Owen Hart, men's tournament final. Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe.
So we've picked our winners before, and it's been Adam Cole. So I'm going to have to stick with my gut feeling and say Adam Cole because I do have a feeling of Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, and Sanjay Dutt making an impact on the match.
Yeah, I think I picked the Mystery Man back when we first filled out
we
our
did
brackets.
pick it, but we had to have the Joker, but I'm going Adam Cole.
Yeah, but that was since I no longer have my representative, I am also taking Adam Cole. I feel like they're going to ruin this match by doing some interference, and who knows?
We picked the interference earlier with the Joker, and we didn't get it, so we know the interference has to come.
It's coming. Yes. Then we got the women's side. We've got Britt Baker versus we got Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho, and who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Ruby Soho. I think this is the turn. Jamie Hayter. I think this is the turn.
Hey, every time I've predicted the turn and a Britt Baker lost, I've gotten it wrong, and I'm going to continue to predict it. I'm also going Ruby Soho.
They can't have Adam. I mean, they can, but I was going to say they can't have Adam Cole and Britt Baker win the trophies.
Not allowed. Death Triangle versus House of Black.
Hot take. Going House of Black here.
Okay, all right. I'm also going House of Black.
Oh my god,
dude! I cannot fathom the idea of the Death Triangle winning. This fucking House of Black. That means that they would have done all of these dumb vignettes and interviews, and they would have wrestled Fuego del Sol all these times, also that they can lose to the Death Triangle. Whereas the Death Triangle will be fine. You can get them doing anything. Make them the first trios champion, and then you've got a feud built right. But I would be so mad if all of this ended in the House of Black just losing, and then what do they do next? More weird vignettes? Are they going to go wrestle Fuego for confidence booster a couple more times?
Their strength of schedule is really lacking because they just keep wrestling Fuego.
They need this win more than anybody needs a win on this pay-per-view just because of their strength of schedule.
I agree.
Young Bucks versus Hardys. Who you got?
I am going to go Hardys. This is going to put them on the retirement tour winning streak and getting the tag team championships.
Think so?
I think so.
All right. I am also... this is a tough one for me. I am going to go with the Hardy Boys. I think Adam Cole's going to win that tournament final, and they're not going to give the Elite too much. I'm going Hardy Boys here for the win here, and then I agree with you. They'll go on a hot run, win the titles, and hopefully the Bucks are the people that dethrone them at the end.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
that would be fitting. Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill.
MJF versus Wardlow for what is listed here on the Observer as Wardlow's freedom. Who do you got in this match?
War Dog.
I also have the War Dog. I'd be really surprised if he wasn't the one that...
If they pull like a Cody move on this, I will be furious.
Maybe Wardlow asked out of his contract and he wants to go to WWE.
I'm punching air.
Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus defend the tag titles against Keith Lee and Swerve and Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. This could go anyways. And what do you think?
I am going to go with my bias as I am part of the faction of Team Taz. So I'm going Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs.
All right. So the competitor in me wants to win this prediction contest, and I want to get more matches right than you. However, the fan in me really does not want to see the Jurassic Express win another title match and defend the title. So at my behest, I am picking Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus to win this match because it's a win-win for me. If they win, I accurately predicted it. That's one that I beat you on. And if they lose, I'll be happy because secretly I want them to lose, which almost guarantees that they're going to win just by saying that.
Yeah, I can't see him. Ricky Starks taking the big pin on Dynamite. He's coming out on top.
All right. Next, we've got Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb for the women's world title, and I got Thunder Rosa.
I can't see. Thunder Rosa losing her first defense.
Second defense.
Forgettable.
Well, that's because the obligatory Nyla Rose first challenger.
Yes,
people always forget about that because it always happens. But Hangman Page versus CM Punk for the AEW World Championship. I am picking CM Punk in this match.
So I am actually going to differ from you and say Hangman. I think this is going to be the notch on his belt that's going to put Hangman into the stratosphere.
I would love to see Hangman set into the stratosphere. I hope you're right. I mean, there's no wrong answer here. You can do anything you want with either of these two guys, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I think Hangman has got it.
So those are our predictions for the show. We will also throw Big Dave's predictions on the Twitter as well. We'll see who wins this round.
Yeah, I do. We tried to mix it up a little bit. Some of these are just kind of cut and dry on who's going to win.
Yep.
But I think we definitely differed on a few. So I'm happy that we had a little bit of variety.
And we will do a Double or Nothing review. And after we do the Double or Nothing review, we will do Match of the Week, which maybe we do a top 3 matches since we'll have so many to play with. But
we'll have 14 then.
But yeah. But you'll get a classic top 3. We'll pick our favorite matches of the week. We'll do a review of the show. You'll get an extra Gould-Fish Pod at some point. Won't be as long, but it'll be just as good, guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
And that's all we've got for today. I am Matt Gould.
And I'm Ryan Fish.
And thanks for checking us out. Peace.